Mr. Sandman, bring me a dream.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I'm your host Sandman. Today I'm going to be reviewing the Multipick Sandman Advanced Lockpick set. Let's get into it. My friends, if you came here for an objective review, you came to the wrong place because this is one of my favorite lockpick sets from one of my most favorite manufacturers. I'm not going to give my own lockpick set a negative review, but I'm going to be as honest and forthright as possible. And I might even give you some alternatives on the market that you could compare this to so you can get the best bang for your buck. Sometime back in July or June of 2024 this year, Multipick reached out to me and we had a discussion on some lockpick sets that I thought might be a good seller for the North American demographic. Multipick is based out of Germany, Bonn, Germany specifically, and I wanted to see some sets that could be competitive on the market here in North America because I run a locksport group. I've been in locksport. I've been picking locks since 2007. I've been a part of the locksport community since 2010. I've been going to locksport meetup groups since 2010. And I now run my own locksport group here in Austin, Texas called Bat City Locksport. And I wanted tools that I felt comfortable recommending to new members and advanced block pickers that come to my own group. So that was the reasoning behind some of this. And I really wanted to see more lockpick sets for Multipick that were a little bit more on the lower price tier, like we see here, that are very successful in North America. So I advised on 4 different pick sets. I have the starter set, which is like the little Timmy pick set that averages around $25. The Timothy pick set, which is the beginner pick set, which is somewhere between 40 and 50. And then I also give them the intermediate pick set, which is somewhere between 75 and 100. And this advanced lockpick set, which retails for $128 without the value added tax, USD. So it's actually not even really a big Tim pick set. It's more of a Tim pick set. And that's really what I wanted to hit. Let's talk about the selection of tools real quick before I get into the product overview. So when they reached out to me, they said, you know, we would love to see what your ideas on various pick sets. And so in order to do that, I needed to see their entire inventory. So right here, I have all their 0.6 millimeter tools, which comes in at about 236 thousandths of an inch. We also just call it 23 thou. And then we have the 0.5 millimeter, also known as 19.5 thou. And then we have the 0.4 millimeter right here. As you can see, there's not a lot of 0.9 millimeter, 0.5 millimeter or 19.5 thousandths coming out of Multipick right now. In fact, there's only 13 profiles available from Multipick, 13 or 14 to be precise. So when I came out with this advanced pick set, people were kind of saying like, hey man, why don't you have 19 thou? I use that more often. Why do you just have a dual gauge advanced pick set? I'm like, this is what I had to work with. And so I picked the best profiles from 23 thousandths and from the 16 thousandths lineup. 16 thousandths lineup. I didn't have a whole lot to go with for the 19 thousandths. Multipick is ever expanding. They have 107 profiles. We have a total of 55 profiles in 0.6 millimeter, 13 to 14 profiles in 0.5 millimeter, and 48 profiles in 0.4 millimeter. And they're coming out with new profiles every single week. It's crazy. They have more profiles than any other manufacturer on the market. I should know. I own 95% of every lockpick brand in the world current to date out of 2024. There's only 30 different manufacturers. A couple of these are resellers of some of these manufacturers. And out of those 30, let's see here, we also have 10 that have been discontinued. So that's 40 brands that you could possibly have in a lockpick collection. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of the discontinued ones. And then there is one manufacturer who actually has 15 companies they're making tools for. So there's a lot of different brands on the market that actually go link back to the just one manufacturer. But of the 30 different brands, I own all of them except for like 4 or 5. And that's because they're garbage. I just didn't want to spend the money on them yet. But at some point I will, just so I can be that guy that says I own all the lockpicks. Wahaha. So of all the lockpick manufacturers in the world, Multipick has the largest variety, the absolute largest. There is no other company that even comes close. 107 profiles is insane. So that's what I based my advanced lockpick consultation set off of. I wanted something that was representative of what they had at the time in their inventory, and I wanted it to hit that Big Tim to Big Tim price point, and I still didn't even get to the Big Tim. It was still just a Tim pick set. So these lock picks are going to be about a 400 series surgical stainless steel. It's going to boast somewhere over 250,000 pounds per square inch of ultimate tensile strength. It's very comparable to 301 high yield. 301 high yield comes in a whole variance of tolerance. So you can get these things as low as 250,000 pounds, and you get them as high as 300,000 pounds per square inch of ultimate tensile strength. It just depends on what the steel provider has at that time and how much it costs, quantity and price overall. The same thing with the 400 series stainless steel, and it all depends on their heat annealing process as well. So there are some blurred lines between the 400 series stainless steel and the 301 high yield stainless steel. A lot of people can't tell the difference between the two, but both of these pick steels are considered tier 1, high quality, best of the best, high functionality and transparency from Multipick manufacturer. These guys are super transparent about everything they do with their company. They didn't come out with, it's not publicly available knowledge, publicly known available knowledge as to the type of tool steel. They just prefer their marketing to just call it a stainless steel or a surgical stainless. But we know that it's a 400 series stainless steel based off of metallurgical analysis done over 10 years ago by people in the industry. So this is a tier 1, best of the best, high quality, high functionality, transparency. Tier 2 would be fun to collect, fun to try out, works on a pinch, good enough for a locksmith because they're not lock sporters. They're just trying to get into the door, and if they can't pick it, then they're going to drill it. And then tier 3, we have garbage. I can't recommend it. Poor quality, non-functional. That's the stuff you see on eBay and Amazon and Etsy and things like that. Just terrible. So I'm really happy to be able to have my own lockpick set here. Why did I go with these particular profiles? Well, there's two different ways to pick a lock. We have single pin picking and then we have raking. And in this realm of single pin picking here, let me zoom in, extreme close up. When we single pin pick, we have flat hooks, we have rounded hooks, and then we have our sharps. And our sharps are just going to be a mixed bag of gym hooks. We have thins, we have diamonds, but then we also have groove, what I call grabbers. They're also called lifter picks. Some people call them monkey paws. Some people call them elephant trunks. You can call it whatever you want, but it's designed to grab the pin, the key pin. But these still fall in the category of a sharp because of this profile here. With raking, we have rounded profiles, we have sharp profiles, and then we have a mixed bag of rounded and sharp, similar to what we see on an L rake or a city rake. There's a few other options here. We do see double snowman or double ball rounded picks, or we also see single ball rounded picks. There's all different types of means for those. I guess I can add that right here. Like if you guys are new here, this is a double ball pick. It can be a half pick. It can also be a like this, where it has two balls. They call this a snowman. These are for raking wafer locks. This was very popular profile like 50 years ago. We don't see that much. You can still rake these locks just fine with a Bogota right here. So if you're not familiar, this is very similar to a Bogota right there. This would be a city rake, and this would be a sinusoid sign. I don't know. People, I don't even know. They're just wave rakes. I call them wave rakes. That's all they are. Even though this looks more like a wave, I call that a wave rake. So we have a wave, Bogota, and a city rake, and then we have our ball rakes right here. So then we have our flat hooks, then we have our rounds, and then we have our sharps. And then we have our grabber picks. We'll just call those, they're called paws, monkey paws, whatever. We'll call them a grabber because they grab. Grabbers. Does that have two B's? We're going to find out in the comments, aren't we? So we have grabber picks right here. Sorry, I didn't realize you guys couldn't see that. That's it. That's really all there is. You can have 107, you can have 200, you can have 1,000 different profiles. At the end of the day, we're going to have flats, rounds, and sharps. We're going to have waves, Bogota, city, and balls. That's really all we're going to see. Could someone pull out something like, but Sandman, look at this thing? And I'm like, that's cool. It's probably a variation or a combination of the two. I honestly believe that that's really what's happening. The key pins don't know the difference. It's all designed for you. That's it. It's all designed for you. It's all designed based off of how you feel feedback inside of a lock. The most important profiles, in my opinion, are going to be the flats, rounds, and the sharps. I I wanted a selection of flats, rounds, and sharps inside of an advanced pick set. And I wanted a selection of a wave and a Bogota inside the advanced pick set. City rake is kind of an old design. It's been around for over 30, 40, 50 years. The ball rake is an old technology. I can pick wafer locks with a Bogota just fine. I competed recently at the Texas Locksmith Association Convention Lockpicking Championships, and I was able to slay within seconds, like 2 seconds flat, several wafer locks with just the Bogota right here. And the wave is really popular for padlocks and so on and so forth. But for single pin picking, flats, rounds, and sharps. So that's what I did. I decided I wanted to see a low profile flat hook. I wanted to see a medium profile flat hook for for locks that have the high-low bidding. And every now and then you get that lock where it has like high security locks. Like right now I'm picking Asa Abloy, a lot of Asa Twin. I'm learning how to pick all those black belt level locks. There's always going to be that very stubborn high set shallow pin on pin number 6 with a very low cut pin number 5. That's what we want the deep flat hook for. So I wanted 3 different profiles in the flats. I wanted 3 different profiles in the rounds. So we have a low, medium, and a deep. And I wanted 3 different profiles in the sharps. I really like using sharps for smaller pins like Pack Lock, American Lock, and Master Lock. Those are actually smaller size pin format. Smaller size pin format. Not to be confused with small format interchangeable core like Best, Falcon, Sargent, or any other SFIC. But if you're picking an American 1100, or if you're picking a Pack Lock 98 or a 98 Pro, or any type of Master Lock, they're all super tiny pins, and I really love to use these thins for that. If I tried to use my flat hook on an American lock or on a Pack Lock, my pick usually gets lost, and I usually have trouble discerning which pin I am on. Now, I wanted these in 0.4 millimeter for those highly paracentric keyways and for Euro cylinders. A lot of European locks like to use that Yale Y1 or Y6 keyway, and I wanted to be able to navigate those keyways. Those keyways are highly paracentric, as we see here. So that's a Yale Y1, Y6, and a paracentric keyway is where the warding overlaps itself. So you have to pick off of one of the wardings, or you have to have a nice steep hook. You have to angle it in and get it into the pin stack there to be able to lift that pick, and that's lift that pin. It's super hard on these highly paracentric keyways. So I wanted the 0.4 millimeter for that. However, in North America, we're very spoiled here. We have a Quickset KW1 or a Schlage SC1. These are the 2 most common keyways in North America. These are probably going to be what's on your front door. For commercial and properties, we have a Schlage Everest, and we also have a Best IC. I don't remember which keyway this is, but they're all going to be quite open, and they're not going to be super paracentric. So for those types of keyways and locks, I wanted to have the 0.6 millimeter in all 3 profile heights in the flats and the rounds and the sharp, so 0.6 millimeter. Let's take a look at the attention to detail that Multipick puts on all these picks, which is absolutely fantastic. So the 0.4 millimeter here are etched with the 0.4 on these. So I could just stick these in with that, and I could pull it out a little bit, and I can see the 4 here, instantly knowing that this is the 0.4 millimeter. Alternatively, on the averse side, we have Multipick Germany. We have the founder of the company, his initials, BJ, with a king, a king's crown on top of his initials, Multipick Germany. And then we also have something very unique to Multipick, and that is we have Elite V58 V69021 2024. So V58 is the profile. If you bend or break any of your tools, you can look up the V58, and that is going to be the profile that you should look up to replace this particular tool. You don't have to try to memorize that it's a 0.4 thousandths and it's a medium hook, or man, is it a shallow hook? I can't remember if this is a shallow or a deep hook. It just all looks so similar. Just look up the V58 for the profile if you have any problems. Also, if you have any issues with the handles coming off, of course that's never going to happen, these are all spot welded, but if you have any issues with your pick overall that may be covered by the warranty, because they do have a warranty on all their tools, we do have a serial number here. This particular serial number is V69021, and it has the manufacturer's year, which is 2024. You will never see another lockpick on the market that has this much attention to detail in their tools. Now the 0.6 millimeter are not going to have anything like that on the back. They're just kind of this really cool design of all these different profiles and extractors and rakes and picks. And then on this side, we still have the PN63. So the PN line is the 0.6 millimeter. It says 0.6 millimeter right there. And then it has the 575106 and the 2024. So, yep, so the V series is the 0.4 millimeter and the PN series is going to be the 0.6 millimeter line of tools. Now let's talk about the rakes real quick. People don't necessarily know this, but almost all keyways, North American or European, are going to have a minimum gap tolerance from 30 to 50 thousandths, 30 to 50 thou. So if I were to take a look at this best interchangeable core here and stick this guy in here, we're looking at 50 thousandths. Why is that? Well, keyways have to be thick at the top because keys have to have a minimal amount of thickness here, so that way when I'm inserting these keys over and over and over into my keyway, it has to be able to stand up to turning, rotating, and durability, and ramming into these key pins and then rotating against the cylinder. So this thickness here has to be a minimum of about 30 thousandths of an inch, and on average it's going to be about 40 thousandths to as much as 50 or 60 thou. A lot of my high security locks have ginormous top of keyway because the keys that go with these are so thick, because there's so many different security features in the high security locks that they have to be able to withstand the abuse of rotating that lock and interacting with all of those security features and those pins. What does that mean to you? Well, all of my rakes in this advanced lockpick set are going to be the 0.6 millimeter. In my humble opinion, and this is no slight against any other YouTubers or lockpickers out there, you are never, ever, ever in 100 years going to need a 0.4 millimeter rake on a Yale keyway. I can use my 0.6 millimeter rake even with the tallest of profiles like this Bogota here or my quad rake right here, and I have no problem raking these pins in a Yale style keyway or any other highly paracentric keyway. You always want to go with the thickest rakes that you can find, and so the thickest rakes that Multipick has are going to be the 0.6 millimeter. All 5 of these rakes are going to be a 0.6 millimeter. I decided to go with the quad and the quint and the Bogota. So I have a triple peak, I have a quadruple peak, and I have a quint peak. And of the quint peak, I went with a slightly subdued or slightly rounded waveform here, and then I chose the highest peak. Christina Palmer designed these. She's super intelligent, just a genius all around, and she came up with like 3 to 5 different profiles of varying heights for these quad and quint peaks. And I decided to go with the lesser of the 3 or 4 and the taller of the 3 or 4 that she had designed for Multipick. And so that's what I have here right now. I think if I were to look at my collection here, I think these are all the other two. Let me not get them mixed up, but we have a 0.73, or we have a PN73, a PN74, and a PN72. So 3 profiles total. And I went with the 73, the 72. That's what I found to be most beneficial in my testing. I did hours and hours of testing with all different manner of locks for raking, and I found that the variance between the taller peaks and the lower peaks were more successful than the ones that were in between. But all in all, if I had to pick one rake, I would go with the Bogota. This guy has been my most successful rake overall. In fact, at the Texas Locksmith Convention, they had a booth where they had a master lock, and whoever could pick the master lock in the fastest time would get a $300 bottle of whiskey. And I walked up and I said, "What's your fastest time?" They said 12 seconds. Okay, let me try it. And I pulled out my rake and I picked it in 5 seconds. Unfortunately, someone kept going back over and over and over about a dozen times or half dozen times, and they were able to get it in 3 seconds. But I had all the confidence in the world pulling out my Bogota rake and going in and raking that lock within 5 seconds. Just an unknown lock. And that was super fun. Now, yeah, it was just a master lock, but how rare is it to walk up to a lock in a competition with $300 prize on the line and just be like, yeah, sure, I could do that, and pick it in 5 seconds? I did that with this particular pick, this exact pick right here. So, man, I really love this pick set. I love that they did all this for me. Let's talk about the turning tools real quick. So this is all I ever use, honestly. I carry all of the Multipick turning tools in my collection. I have all 3 of their major pick sets, but these are not in any of their sets. Maybe someday they'll come out with a set 4, but these are their double-ended turning tools designed by Christina Palmer. And I like to use these short-ended ones for a top of keyway when I'm single pin picking locks from the bottom. And then I use the longer portion for bottom of keyway when I'm raking my lock. So if I want to rake the lock, I put that at the bottom so that way I can get some success here raking my lock at the top. And I'm probably not going to be able to rake this right now, but I digress. So if you are raking, put that at the bottom. If you are single pin picking here, we can put that right there at the top of the keyway, and we can start to, I'm going to have to actually pick this off the warding here, and we can actually pick this lock from here at the bottom of the profile. It's hard to do this. My hands are like 2 feet in front of me right now, so I'm not going to try to do this while I'm in the middle of my review. So these are my most widely used tension tools that I keep on me at all times. I take with me everywhere I go, and these are in every single one of my pick sets, and Multipick makes the best ones. These are industry standard, but these particular ones designed by Christina Palmer are the ones that all the other companies are copying, it seems. And then I love using top of keyway tension when I am picking locks that are either in a table vise or they are installed on a door. So I did used to be a locksmith. I no longer pick locks in use, but I like to be able to pick locks that are installed in things. So let's say if I want to pick this lock right here, I'd have it sitting on my desk. Or if I want to pick high security locks that are in a table vise, I'm going to use these top of keyway pry bar style double-ended tension wrenches. And these right here, they come in 0.8 millimeter, 1 millimeter, and 0.3 millimeter. And you can pretty much pick every lock in the world with just the 1 millimeter here. So if you had to pick one of these and one of these, I'd go with the 1 millimeter and the 1 millimeter. Absolutely. But I love having these. The purpose of having multiple ones is sometimes you get locks where the cylinder is actually recessed into the padlock a little bit. So you want this longer end right here for the top of keyway, so that way you're not bumping into the retaining pin at the top. And alternatively, if it's flat flushed like this, then you're going to want to pick top of keyway with the shorter end like this. You can still pick locks with this in your hand, but it's super non-ergonomic and super uncomfortable. I would definitely much rather use one of these tools so that way I can be more comfortable right here. Alternatively, when I'm picking American padlocks, I can take this same turning tool, put it on top of the keyway, and I can pick locks counterclockwise like this. So for instance, if I want to pick this to my operational control line, because this is a best interchangeable, small format interchangeable core. So I actually have 2 shear lines in here because it's master keyed. And so one of the master key here, which is called the control key, that can actually remove the whole cylinder. So I can replace, it's why it's called interchangeable. So if I want to remove the cylinder, I'd want to pick this clockwise and try to find the shear line for that. But if I want to pick this operationally and just pick the shackle, because I'm possibly picking 2 shear lines here, I can pick this counterclockwise and I will only be picking the operational shear line right there. And that's what I love with these 90-degree double-ended turning tools, that I can pick and reverse with my thumb here as a right-handed lock picker. Super cool. If I was left-handed, I wouldn't have to worry about that. I could just pick like this, and left-handed lock pickers do the same thing with their thumb when they're picking clockwise in this direction. So aside from the turning tools and aside from all the picks, let me get all this out of here real quick. We have a beautiful trifold leather case, some type of calf skin. Lovely. I absolutely love this thing. It is beautiful. I love it. Man, Multipick, thank you so much for sending this set of tools out to me. I really appreciate you. I appreciate all of my followers who have helped me reach this goal of getting to 5,000 followers. As of today, I'm just shy of 6,000 followers, and now I can proudly say that I have lockpicks with my name on them. I don't know how else to thank all of you, and I don't know what else to say about this lockpick set that it doesn't speak for itself. I definitely think this is going to be one of the best lockpick sets on the market, but let's talk about a couple other sets that are contenders. If you like the Multipick brand, but you want a more variety of tension tools and profiles, I would highly recommend the Christina Palmer Elite or essential pick set. I think it's called the Elite 29 or essential. I don't remember. I get them mixed up. But Christina Palmer has an advanced pick set. That's what it's called, the advanced pick set. That's a really great offering. Also, I'm a big fan of Lock Noob, and he is such a great lock picker. He's a better lock picker than me, and he puts together really great sets. I would love to recommend his Elite 29 piece lockpick sets, 29 or 39 piece. This thing's amazing. It has dimple picks here for all of your dimple locks, and it just has such a really great selection of tools. And Multipick just sent out to me the triple gauge lockpick set by Lock Noob. I'll be doing a review of that here next week. There's so many great tool sets available on the market. If you guys are interested in purchasing Multipick, let me just go ahead and throw out the Multipick YouTube Sand10 for saving 10% off of up to 8 unique items in your shopping cart one time. So if you want to buy 8 different lockpick sets, you can. If you just want to buy 8 turning tools, you can. Just type in MPYT SAND10, all one word, no spaces. I don't think it matters if it's uppercase or lowercase, but go ahead and do it all caps and get yourself 10% discount. I don't get any kickbacks or financial incentive. I get nothing in return for these reviews other than just the satisfaction of knowing that better tools are going out into the world and into your hands. Let me know in the comments down below, folks. What are your thoughts? Do you think this is a really great pick set? Would you like to try the Christina Palmer or the Lock Noob, or would you like to get your hands on the Sandman Advanced Multi-Pick set? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. My friends, I'm not rich, I'm irresponsible, and I'm just a businessman blessed with many friends. Thank you all so much for watching, and thank you Multipick for taking my consultation and gracing and blessing me with your tools. Folks, that's all I have for today. I'll catch you guys next time.
Mr. Sandman, bring us